Warrior Works, where the steel gets a second life. Warrior.
Welcome to Warrior Works. I know generally I go over some like eBay finds or purchases inside, but I received this, and you guys, I think I alluded to the fact I was receiving this. I ended up getting a Lockhorn, and it's a 1980, and it's in really good shape. It does have a little bit of polishing that needs to get done, so I'll polish that up here when I'm done working on a few other knives later, and that will take nothing more than 5 minutes to do. But I also got this in, and I got this for like 50 bucks, and the reason why is it's a little bent at the tip. You know, worst case scenario, this is no longer a PS60 or P62-4.5. It will become a P62- maybe 4.25. No, well, still just at 4.5 if I can pull it off, or just under. So maybe it was over measured before. But it's in not the greatest shape. There's some marks and things that obviously was used. But, you know, I'm okay with that. I enjoy working on knives, and I enjoy fixing them. And, you know, that's my whole hobby, is exactly that. So eventually maybe I'll find a new one that doesn't need anything done to it. But, you know, I got one, and I'll show you guys how it looks when I'm all done with it. Also working on that knife that I did the file work for the thorn pattern on. Even though I want to show it, the handle material, the way it looks, is kind of a surprise. So I'm just going to leave it as is right now, not show that. And a few other projects I kind of want to keep close to cuff until they're ready to be released. And that's because I haven't talked with the owners of these knives as if they wanted them broadcasted or shown to everybody on YouTube. And I did that with the Moose fixed blade that I worked on. I got permission to use that. Actually, you know what? These gloves are shot. I'm gonna take a page from Brother Herb and get rid of these and say that they serve their purpose, I guess. You know, at least the left side is pretty shot. I still think there's some life in that right side. So as much as I don't want to, or I want to, I'm not going to toss this right now, not the right side. You know, I could screw up the right side on the other pair and, you know, need another right side glove and then not end up having one. So this one obviously is done. So I'm going to get some new gloves, work on a few things, and I'll get back with you guys here later. Thanks. So earlier I showed a couple knives. I wanted to show the dagger. So it looks better than it did before. The tip broke. So the moment I took a carbide straightening hammer, this right here, this is an IROC, and it's really good at straightening hardened steel. I gave it one tap and it just snapped off that tip, and I hit one more time lightly where it was, and it snapped off. So I figured it was already fractured, and I ended up grinding down to about a 4.25, so about a 1/4 inch down. And I used the big wheel I have to do the hollow grind on here. And because it's not the exact size, I mean, I had to go in there and hand sand a little bit. It's not perfect, but the lines go down straight down the center. And it's sharp as heck. But what I ended up doing, I added a few choils at the base there. Okay, so I think where I was showing this, and I like it. I mean, it does what I needed to do. It was warped, like the blade wasn't only bent at the tip. When I took it and I started putting the grinds in, I realized that it had, whoever pried it kind of bent the whole knife slightly in that same direction, and I had to use my carbide straightening hammer, and I hit it probably close to a few hundred times, and I got it straight. You know, definitely not factory perfect, but it's straight. And this blade, I don't know if you guys ever seen those. Those are like razor thin already. And this thing is, not exaggerating any when I say this thing is like razor sharp. And it's primarily because of how thin that edge is. I mean, it's super cool little dagger. I'm afraid if you ever used it to stab something, the tip would, or it would break off in there. But, you know, if anything, that's a cool little display piece. Not brand new in the box or new old stock, but, you know, for $50, I think the sheath is easily worth 50 bucks. So I'm not complaining about it. And it took me all, 20 minutes to do. I cheated this time. I kind of put what I wanted to do first. But that just means I got more work to do this evening. I got the stuff, a few knives that I glued yesterday. I'm going to let them dry another evening just to make sure they cure properly. Then I'll sand and I'll put some pins in there. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do a blade delete and a lanyard on this loom fixer. And this is for a subscriber. This is for Milo. He sent it to me, and of course there's that broken blade. This is a 74. He didn't want that ground down or fixed. He wants it a single blade, and he wants a lanyard on there. So I'm gonna bring you guys down to the bench, and we're gonna disassemble this, and we're gonna do it the same way that we always do, and that's trying to preserve as much of the handle as possible and trying to do it as delicate as possible. Not always possible, but we're going to try. And again on this, I got the carbide bit with a slight cone-shaped taper to it. And I guess to get you guys a little more light, see what's going on. Hopefully that helps. So I do feel a little better this evening. Not completely, but I do feel better. So I'll knock out this spring pin first. Find my smaller punch. Keep that ready. Now, because I'm doing a blade delete, it's entirely possible that we could reuse that, but I'm not going to. Now, Milo sent these in, and you know, he is no trades on this one. He's a paying customer. Those pins are out. You can fan out those blades, fan out everything in there. Some pretty nasty stuff in there. And next time I'm going to ask you guys to at least clean the wells of these things, man. So I just pulled out the mainspring, and as you guys know, I like to mark the mainspring, and I'm just going to put a X on it because I'm not keeping the old spring for the blade, and it's significantly thinner, but you know, just as common practice, getting good habits. So this is already sunken in a little bit, this pin, so I don't think I'm going to be grinding it down a little. It should come straight out. Now, it's moving, but it's not coming out, so. I just don't want to dig this pin into it and flare it out more. It's ready to pop out of that. Well, I guess I got another short punch. You know, it's kind of hard to get mad about crap like that. You know, tools are tools, and I guess my expectation is that a punch, when I'm using it properly, you know, doesn't break like that. And this is a Mayhew, which is supposed to be a good brand. I don't see USA marked on here anywhere. And this one isn't marked, so I'd imagine that this one's also not made in the USA. I do have some Starrett punches and some other punches for my gunsmith set, but I gotta order or get another set for my shop that's decent. I mean, not that those were not decent, it's just, and obviously you see that happens. Now I gotta buy a couple different ones. And if I was going a little too quick on that, I was just slowly disassembling it. And since this was snipped, it has kind of an angle and I can't get a punch on that accurately. I want to file off the top to make it flat, so the punch has a surface that it can rest on. Geez, some of these old knives and punches, holy cow, no wonder why they didn't break. I think you guys maybe have seen me pull apart enough knives to see that some of the newer ones just come apart like so easy. Some of these old ones are just, you see why they're good quality built knives. I wish this was just as easy as, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Bless me. So, what I was getting at is, I need to know where I should drill the lanyard hole, and luckily the old dirt and stuff kind of already gives me a layout. And if I drill a hole right here, then I know that will clear it, because when you look at where the kick rests for this main blade right there, there's plenty of clearance right there for that lanyard hole. So I'm going to drill this hole first. Now what I'm probably going to do is get the center or approximate center, drill a pilot hole, an 1/8 inch hole, leave this flat part right there and drill down this way with a flat part. I'm sorry, let me start again. Drill the small pilot hole from this direction, flip it around, put it on drill press, drill down with the bigger, proper size drill, and then clamp these two together, put a pin through the hole so I know exactly where center is. I don't know why those two aren't not flat together. Huh. Milo, if you're watching this, if these don't meet up, some of them just don't. That's not my fault. Just the way that these handles are. Yeah, we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. So after I do that, I'll clamp these two together, make sure that they're exactly lined up, and I'll probably put pins in the bolster and in the spring pin, and if I can, maybe even the rear pin right here, so I can hold it steady and drill the lanyard hole all the way through. You know, especially on a knife like this, this is kind of not really, it's unsettling, you know, because you don't want to ruin somebody's like knife. And I mean, the only other fix if you screw that up is to put new handles on there and cover up that hole and redo it when the handles are off. And I only know that because I screwed up on my Bearhead Trapper. But I got this smaller tube, and this is, I think it's a 1/4 inch, and I don't know if a 1/4 inch or a larger one. I do have larger copper or brass tubing, but I also know that this should be adequate. But then again, you know, I'll make it a little bit bigger. But after I drill these holes, I'll get back with you guys. I'll turn the camera back on. All right, guys, here's where we're at. I cleaned up, so I drilled an 1/8 inch hole just like I said I was going to. And after I did that, I lined these up, clamped it with this clamp right here. Got everything lined up, all the holes lined up. Got the back. And after I did that, I clamped on the other side of it with this small cant twist clamp. And I was left with that. And I drilled the 1/8 inch hole all the way through in the drill press. Then I changed it out to a 5/16. And then I slowly, like really slowly, went through the pilot hole with the 5/16. And I got this piece, this 5/16 tube, and it's pretty close, but it's a really tight fit. And I don't want to have it too tight because I'm going to flare out the ends, so just going to sand it down a little. I'm just going to deburr the inside of that. And the outside, I don't want to get any splinters from any sharp brass. Well, maybe that sandpaper I'm using is not doing anything but polishing it. It's pretty high grit. It's like 600 grit. And break out the big guns and get some 120 grit right here. To help. You know what's funny is I had this in there earlier and I have no idea why it's being a pain now. The thing about like stuff like this is you don't want to keep repeatedly taking them on and off when they're tight fits, or you're going to bend or break something. Promise that's a chair. Yeah, so what I'm dealing with right now is that chuck made it crushed, so it looks almost like a triangle rather than a circle. I'm just trying to bend it back into a circle shape, and obviously you know how that probably is going. So I'm going to go from this side first. See, this side, that went in no problem. I don't know why this one's tight. Okay, well, when I have these pliers and I'm kind of going back and forth a little, that seems to help. No, when you're not feeling well, things just seem like they're so much harder than they should be. And I'm not even going to attempt to put this together tonight. I want to have a clearer head, but I'm just trying to get an idea for fitment. And I still got to take this blade. This blade has some serious gouging in it right there. And I know I can get those out. And it has a little bit of a curve up here on the tip. I want to see what it will take to kind of get that flat again without losing too much of that blade. I want it to be sharp, but it does look like it has a little bit of a tip there, so I just want to be careful that I don't want to, again, this is pretty nice loom fixer. Even though it was used, it still has a lot of life left. Yeah, that's going to look pretty cool. Only thing that would make that look better is some custom handles. I'm not being facetious when I say that. I'm just giving my honest opinion. I mean, it's a super cool knife. I just think that there's a lot of opportunity there. Yeah, it looks like I got probably an 1/8 of an inch clearance from that tube. So after I clean the blade and I get the pins cut, this is going to come together really quick.